this is Britt Caswell with another example video. In this video I'm covering example 3 from section 2-3 in the SavvasRealize Algebra 2 textbook. So in this example we are talking about solving a quadratic equation by factoring. Now understand that not every expression is factorable, so later on you're going to learn some other methods to solve, but these ones should all be factorable. Now in order to factor, I need the equation to be written in standard form. So if you notice here on A, it's not written in standard form because it's not set equal to 0, and the C term's on the other side of the equal sign. So the first thing I need to do is subtract the 42 to the other side of the equal sign. So this problem now turns into x squared plus x minus 42 equals 0. So now my A term is a 1, so I'm going to use the double bubble method of factoring. So I set up my double bubble, I drop my x's down. That first sign just falls down. Now, to get a negative 42, I need to have opposite signs, so I'm going to put a minus here. Next up, I need to find the factors of 42 that subtract, so they have a difference of my b value, which is 1. So again, the factors of 42 that have a difference, so when I subtract them, equals 1, and that's because of the subtraction here. So I have 1 and 42, I have 2 and 21, I have 3 and 14, not 4 and not 5, I have 6 and 7, and now I'm going to subtract them. So 42 minus 1 is 41, 21 minus 2 is 19, 14 minus 3 is 11, and 7 minus 6 is 1. So I'm going to use this last set. Now because my b value is positive, I need the bigger number to be positive. So I'm going to put the 7 where the plus is and the 6 where the minus is. So what we have done is we have factored the expression, but this one wants us to solve. So in order to solve, I'm going to take each factor and set it equal to 0, okay, because that's the zero product property. So if I go to solve this left-hand one, I need to subtract 7 from each side, and I get x equals negative 7. On this right-hand one, I need to add 6 to each side, and I get that x equals 6. So these are my two zeros, or the two sections where it'll cross the x-axis. Let's try another one. Now on this one, the 2x squared is by itself. I usually prefer to keep my a value positive because otherwise things get a little messy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the 9x to each side to move that 9x over, and I'm going to subtract 5 from each side to move the 5 over. So on this left-hand side, I get 2x squared plus 9x minus 5. And on this right-hand side, I moved everything over, so I have a 0. Now this one I need to do factoring by grouping. So remember, that's where I'm splitting my b term. So when I set up my t-table, I need the factors of a times c. So 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Alright, and my b term is 9. So they need to sum to 9. Now if I wanted to think about it a little differently, okay, I could find the factors of 10, and then because of the minus here, find the ones that subtract to make 9. And that would cut down my list of factors because I don't have to worry about the signs as much. but you do you, whichever one works for you. So the factors of 10. There's 1 and 10. Now that's a negative, right? So I could have either negative 1 and 10 or 1 and negative 10. And my other set of factors is 2 and 5. So I could have negative 2 and 5 or 2 and negative 5. So when I go to add these, okay, negative 1 plus 10 is 9. 1 minus 10 is negative 9. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. And 2 plus negative 5 is negative 3. So the set that matches my 9 is this first set. So this 9x is going to get split into minus 1x plus 10x. Now make sure that there's a plus in between these. If this was a minus, I would need to scoot it over and put a plus there. Now don't forget your a and c terms. Those are important. I'm going to put that equals 0. He kind of just looms there for now. Alright, our next thing is to separate this with the sets of parentheses. Make sure to have the plus between the sets of parentheses or you'll mess up. Now I factor out the GCF on each term. So 2x squared minus x, the GCF is x. Here, 10x and 5, the GCF is 5. Alright, now I'm going to actually divide out that GCF. So 2x squared divided by x is 2x, and negative x divided by x is negative 1. 10x divided by 5 is 2x, and negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. So on this next step, that's where we write our sets of parentheses being multiplied together. So one set is the matching pair, and the other set is your GCFs that you pulled out. So now we have factored it. Now we need to solve it. Okay, we need to find the zeros. So to do that, I'm going to take each set of parentheses and set it equal to 0. So here I need to subtract my 5's. So I get x equals negative 5. And here, this is going to be a two-step equation. I have to get rid of the subtraction before I can get rid of that multiplication. So I get 2x equals 1. And if I divide by 2, I get x equals 1/2 or 0.5. Let's do another one. So now on this one, it's not in standard form yet, so I need to subtract the 20 to each side of the equal sign. So I get x squared plus 8x minus 20 equals 0. Because my a value is 1, I could just do the double bubble method. So I put my x's in there. I drop down my first sign. To get a negative here, I need opposite signs, so I'm going to fill in a minus. I set up my t-table. I need the factors of 20 with this minus, so I need the difference, so they need to subtract to make 8. So my factors of 20, I have 1 and 20, 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. So if I go to subtract them, 20 minus 1 is 19, 10 minus 2 is 8, and 5 minus 4 is 1. So I'm going to use that middle set. Because my b term's positive, my bigger number has to be positive. So the 10 is going to go where the plus is, and then the 2 goes where the minus is. So we have factored it. Now I need to go through and to solve it. So I'm going to say x plus 10 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. So on this left one, we subtract the 10, and I get x equals negative 10. On this right-hand one, I add 2 to each side and get x equals 2. Now remember, you could always double check yourself when you're factoring by distributing that back together and making sure you get your original expression. So that's something I encourage as well. Okay, so now this last one, it's not written in standard form. I want to keep that a value positive, so I'm going to subtract 3x and subtract 2 from each side. Alright, so my expression turns into 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 equals to 0. Now because my a term is not 1, I have to factor by grouping. So I need to split this b term into 2 terms. Remember, my a term and my c term, they stay as they are. Let's see, so a times c, so 2 times negative 2 is 4. So I'm finding the factors of negative 4 that sum to negative 3, because it's my b term. So I have 1 and negative 4, or negative 1 and 4, and I have 2 and negative 2. So if I go to add across, 1 plus negative 4 is negative 3, and I could just stop there. I found my list of factors. Okay, you don't have to keep going after that. So when I split this negative 3x, I'm going to split it into a positive x plus a negative 4x. See how there's that plus here in between even though I'm subtracting? You need that for this next step. Our next step is to split into 2 sets of parentheses that are being added. And then I need to factor out the GCF. So in this first set of parentheses, the GCF between 2x squared and x is x. Now you see how I have positives here and negatives here? That means that my second GCF needs to be a negative. That way I flip my signs. So then the GCF between negative 4x and negative 2 is negative 2. So when I go to do my division, 2x squared divided by x is 2x, and x divided by x is 1. Negative 4x divided by negative 2 is 2x, and negative 2 divided by negative 2 is a positive 1. So now we need to write it as 2 sets of parentheses being multiplied. So one set is your matching pair, and the other set is the stuff that you factored out. So now we have factored the expression. So now that we're factored, we need to actually solve. So I'm going to take each set of parentheses and set them equal to 0. So here I'm going to add 2 to each side and I get x equals 2. Here I have to subtract 1 from each side, so I get 2x equals negative 1. And then I divide by 2 and get x equals negative 1/2. Alrighty, so that is solving quadratic equations by factoring. Until next time.